Egg? Yes. Good job.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
That's a major problem.
Where do you feel That is a
And I have
And the little Sal brought along the rings set.
Good job.
All right, good friends. Raise a hand if you finished your activity where you are. To each of you, every time you hear the word blueberries, I want you to take the sponge that way too.
You heard the word berries. Let's see how many families you can find. Here we go. Mommy, look at baby.
Over on the other side of the berries.
And we have flour.
The little bear tasted another tremendous
And on the other side, Sally. Are we listening to the kids? Sally, the pizza maker, grows tomatoes in her community garden.
Blueberry.
Pink cars.
I like broccoli too.
You don't want
Blueberry.
run fast through the meadow.
The students were here early, eager and ready to go, and I'm just so impressed with seeing them work with children in the way that they wrote about in real life. So seeing them make accommodations for children that maybe have a shorter attention span or struggle to hold the crayon, and just making gentle changes to their lesson plan so that all the children feel successful is really impressive to see in real life today. They put a lot of effort because as soon as they knew that they were working with real children and not just presenting in class, every single one of my students just put 10 times more effort than they maybe would have had to, because they knew that this is real life and real children are going to benefit from this, and it's just been wonderful to see it come to life. 4 little apples. I see a lot of smiles. Then I shook that tree as hard as I could. Down came an apple. Was it good?
So my project today was we did camping trees. So I had cutouts of each child's individual letters of their name, and they made them into a very tall tree. And then we colored a tent, and then we added the tent and the tree together and made them one big camping scene. I think it went really well. There was a lot of them who knew all the letters of their name, and they were able to put them together and tell me all the letters, and it was what I wanted. It was very good.
So my project was Love is Family, and we were making a heart where we discussed all the different types of family members and who lives with who in each house. So the goal was for the children to be able to experience the fact that families are composed of many different things and not just mom, dad, and children. I think it went good. Some kids, I felt the story went too long, so we were trying to, okay, let's play a game, but the activity was done, and the kids were really able to connect, and the shy ones kind of spoke after they were done, so it worked out. It worked out good. I think it brings the lessons that Ms. Sheila is teaching to life. It really helps us be exposed to the children and how they are working and what they're doing. So it's very helpful to be able to see the kids and how they'll respond to whatever ideas you're coming up with, because you're able to put what you're learning to practice, and that's very helpful.
Your project?
My project was a book about Pete the Cat doing Wheels on the Bus, and we learned about transportation and how they get to school, and then they got to circle the word that relates to how they got to school, and then they got to glue a picture of a bus or a van or feet or a car, and then they got to color it in, and that was their car that they got to school in, or that was their legs, and then they got to draw their body, and that was how they got to school. They all seemed to like it. They all got to tell me about who brought them to school or how they get to school, and we got to talk a little bit more, and it went really good. They had a lot of fun. Well, in the classroom, it's kind of, we practice with each other when we do our lesson plans. It's a lot different with kids, and I think it's a good experience. I think it was a lot of fun to see how they reacted with what we've been working so hard on, rather than, classmates, because we see kind of the process, but it's really nice to see the final outcome with real kids.
So today I read Blueberries for Sal, and we were learning about recognizing the sound of the letter B. And every time I read, they heard blueberries or berries, the children will dab and feed their bear blueberries. And it was really exciting and fun being out here and being hands-on with the children because, you know, anything could happen, so we had to like adapt. And I've learned a few things by doing this where children were just dabbing and had to like transition them and had to recall and let them know that only when they hear the word blueberry. So as soon as they got that connect, it was wonderful to see them, you know, get that connection with the project that I have created for them. What I've learned here is learning to come up with other ideas because not always does it go according to your plan. So that's one thing I've learned from here. So I had to quickly come up with another idea where the children were getting kind of a little bit impatient. So I had to, you know, gather their attention and get them back into whether it be, you know, dramatic with my facial expressions while I was reading or just pausing and just asking the children questions, engaging with them in conversation, which was awesome. To have that experience hands-on just was really an eye-opener.
Oh, it worked very well.
You got enough down there?
The children loved it, and I'm happy.
Turn it.
Great.
You're doing really well too.
The second one, I did the pizza first because they all just wanted to do the pizza.
Okay, so they couldn't wait. Had to dive in and make your pizza.
So I decided, I'm like, you know what, let's just make the pizza first, get that out of our way, talk about our favorite pizzas, and then we'll read the book and...
Yeah, otherwise they're just gonna be, what is that? What is that?
I
Yeah.
had trouble getting through the whole book.
Okay.
So that was a little hard. And then the second round, I had a child that couldn't sit through a book.
Yes.
He had a one-on-one, so I'm like, he's not gonna listen to this. So I just summarized what we were, like the pictures, and I had him point out pictures, and then kind of went at it that way.
But I will say, you're all sharing the accommodations you made, but Miss Joey pulled me aside and she said, Sheila, look what your students are doing. They're noticing what's not working and they're just making the change. They're not getting flustered, they're not coming up to ask me what to do. None of them are looking for a lead teacher to help them. They're all just acknowledging what helps this child to engage, and they're doing it. And she was so impressed. She was like, look what they did. Look. I said, I know.
Stay on this. Let's move on.
Because I have the picture sticks. One of the boys had the closing sign, and another one wanted it. So I said, well, at the end of the book, you can both hold it up.
Yeah. And it worked,
Mhm.
and they were okay with that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Now, if you were writing a lesson plan, you could make that a social emotional objective, right?
Mhm.
How they were going to share the materials if there was a conflict. So that was
Mhm.
great. How about in the room with the younger children?
It was good. I mean, they were younger, so like
Yep. They were done.
Right. So like while I was, cause like their names, like they didn't know like exactly like the letters for their tree, so I would have to one-on-one
Yep.
do the letters. So like I had the other two color their tents while I was working, and then we did like the animal pictures in between while I was helping each individual one do the names.
Oh, that was a good way
Yeah,
to give them
so
each
they
attention.
right, so they had something to do, but then I could help the one, and then the last girl I had, she knew all, like she had them laid out for me, and she knew those letters for her name. And I was like, okay, you go, and then.
I totally want a short book for the rest of my life.
You know, my story was kind of long.
We need like inspiration in like
Yeah.
4 pages. Let's
Right.
go.
Yeah, I know when it's your own class and you have 10 students just to yourself, there are other things going on. You can get through those
Yeah,
longer
right.
stories. But for
Okay.
something like today, it was okay to adapt your book.
Yeah.
And it was beneficial
Yeah.
with those younger ones, and your book was so
They
short.
loved it,
Yeah.
the real things.
I
they
noticed
could see
that.
from
They
the
all
book, they
loved
loved
That
it.
you brought the props.
Yeah.
Good.
It's literature. You gotta read. I'm like, okay, I gotta read at least a couple
But
pages.
just the language that's
Yeah.
happening is part of literature.
Right.
It's part of our guidelines. It's just using language and being that interested adult that helps them to be able to keep talking about what they're doing.
She needed hands-on.
Yeah.
And I think that's why she was shy. Because when we were reading the book, she was kind of to herself, and then, but when she had to pick out her families, she was more engaged. And then she was putting all the crayons in order of color. And then when we did the family on the board, like matching, she was really engaged. Like she really wanted to do it and wanted to be a part of it. But when I was just reading and asking her kind of like interviewee type questions, she was kind of like.
I can tell that, the lead teacher, Miss Joey, that her teaching style is very interactive, because when we were setting up, I was observing her opening circle, and you know how she had the letters posted, and she was saying E elephant, and the child had to go find it, and then she would mix it up, and she would say BB balloon, and they would have to go and find it. So I think she does, and the other children are helping, so I think the students here are used to a lot of interaction, so what we brought was to outside their norms.
so fun.
It was fun.
That was a lot. I wouldn't mind doing this
You
again.
guys coming back?
You wouldn't mind
I
doing
would
this again?
I would love to do this again.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll talk to Miss
One of the
Sheila.
aides and last time she's like, so you guys come back every month?
Every lunch.